Hello and welcome to the Pinfall Podcast. I'm your host, Elizabeth, as always, and I am joined, as always, by my co-host. Happy Monday!
We're both kind of dressed for Raw right now, because I've got the red, and you've got the blue, which is SmackDown. That's kind of like Raw. I don't know what any of the words say. I can't read. So you're just wearing blue.
I'm living my dream!
Liz's dream was to watch Drew fight Roman, so she's happy now.
My dream here today was to finally watch Drew get that fucking title back and to not be disappointed by Raw tonight. And I somehow successfully got that.
I could barely hear any of what you're saying because you shuffled around your mic a lot.
I forget that I know we just talked about it, but I forget that my mic is attached to my laptop. I genuinely thought I was going to be disappointed tonight.
Mm-hmm.
Like, just how WWE works. Somehow I was thrilled, elated.
Welcome, Harry.
I don't need to watch another pay-per-view ever again.
You don't? No more?
No, I'm good. I'm done. I'm out.
So we're not going to.
Thank you.
We're not going to watch Survivor Series on Sunday.
No,
just so everyone knows.
You still have to. I just am not going to. You still have to.
Why is it? That's not fair.
Sorry.
Welcome, Harry.
Harry? Or Harry?
Yes.
Hi, Harry. The victory for Geminis.
Hi, Kayla.
Oh no, it's everyone.
Yeah. All right. So, do you want to just jump right into the news, or do you want to gloat some more?
I'm not gloating. I'm just like really happy. I'm just incredibly fucking happy right now. I just need you to understand how goddamn happy I am. Because watching Drew lose the title was gut-wrenching. Watching him win the title was actually just about as equally gut-wrenching as I should have expected it to be. Painful.
I feel like he's going to go into Survivor Series with like a broken ankle or something.
It doesn't matter. Survivor Series isn't for a title. He can go in half dead if he wants.
Yeah, but he's gonna be humiliated.
I don't give a shit about humiliation. He's done enough to prove that he doesn't need to be humiliated.
All right, so news. Let's jump into it.
Normally I wouldn't jump in this fast, but because it is Raw.
Yeah.
Both of us have to wake up at some point in the future.
It's gonna be a long episode, so buckle up, everybody.
It won't be that bad. There were a ton of promos tonight, and a lot of them were the same promos that we always see. So.
Yeah, there are only how many matches? There are 5 matches today.
It's easy tonight, huh?
Yeah.
All right. All right. Let's start with the sadder news, and we'll go into the sadder for a different reason news.
Okay.
Vibe with me on this one. So RJ Myers, aka the Bruiser, passed away from leukemia. He first announced his leukemia diagnosis in March 2019. He was a former MCW world champion. He passed away just recently, I think a day ago. He trained people such as Lio Rush, and if we remove the context of the personality of this person, he also trained Velveteen Dream, so kind of a loss. Not kind of a loss, a loss.
Yeah.
Very sad. At least, you know, his legacy still lives on in the people that he trained, which is kind of one of those like little silver linings in wrestling.
Yeah, his legacy lives on in Lio Rush.
I believe, didn't Leo just get picked up by like Impact or something?
No, I think he's in AEW.
Okay. No, I just knew that he wasn't like, he was running the.
What?
He was running the. Sorry. He was running the like lower indies for a while, and I think I heard just recently that he had been picked up. Sorry, I've got to fix something about my AirPods real quick. To reset them the other day. So they keep picking up certain somebody's name. I'm not saying it.
So do we want to go on? Do we want to go on a little technical pause?
No, I fixed it.
Oh, okay.
All right. So yeah, so that's very sad. Let's lift off with some slightly happier news. Alexa Bliss just got engaged to Ryan Cabrera, which is still very weird for my little brain to conceive at the same time.
And what's weird to me is it's only been like a year that they've been together.
I think the older you get, like, she's got to be like late 20s, I think, right?
I think early 30s. Maybe.
Okay. So either way.
Because she dated Murphy.
The older you get, the less time. She just looks really young.
Yeah.
But I think the older you get, like, the less time you need to, like, know what you want in somebody.
Mm-hmm.
Which is why, like, a lot of older people will get married, like, or get engaged after, like, a year. So, good for her. I just think it's very funny that Murphy is doing what Murphy is doing when his ex is now engaged to a fully grown man.
For those who haven't watched the show very long, and Kayla confirmed, Ryan Cabrera is 38 and Alexa Bliss is 28.
He made a deal with the goddamn devil then.
He does not look 38
Cabrera
at all.
looks like he is like, does not. Oh my, that means he's almost 40. No, he looks like a little baby.
And for those who have not watched the show for very long, Murphy, somebody on Friday Night SmackDown, has a storyline right now where he is 32, by the way. He has a storyline where he is having a little affair with a 19-year-old. Yeah. It's not...
To be fair. It is not just a random 19-year-old. It is the child of Rey Mysterio, who's a legend in wrestling.
Mm-hmm.
It does not make the age gap any better.
Yeah.
Just to make it not like there's just some random fan that's a 19-year-old. In theory, Rey Mysterio, her father, is the one pulling all the shots in the story, which only makes it weirder.
Yeah.
Significantly weirder. I think that they released that story under the guise of like, oh, it'll make people feel better because like her father's the one calling all the shots, and I was like, no, that makes me more uncomfortable actually.
It feels like those fixed marriages doesn't like India do that?
I don't know if they do that anymore, but I know the vibe you're going for here.
Yeah.
Arranged marriages.
Arrangement,
not fixed like a fucking sports. It's fixed. They know they're gonna end up together.
But congrats to Alexa and Ryan. That's awesome that they got engaged.
Now make him get back together and like do like a tour with like Ashley from fucking O-Town. Ask for very little. Okay. Let's jump back into like some less than great news.
Great.
Nia Jax.
Oh,
I'm talking
no.
about Nia Jax just real quick.
I'd prefer
I'm saving
we
the
didn't.
worst for last, so.
I'd prefer we didn't.
No, I want to talk about Nia Jax. So, darling, dearest Nia Jax. I posted. Okay. Give me one second. I have my phone.
Okay.
I don't.
What are you looking? Oh, you're looking for your phone.
Yeah. Got it. Okay. I'm glad that Harry and Kayla tuned in for this one.
Yeah.
I'm vaguely drunk and totally not.
Not vaguely.
Right now. Babe. Okay. So Nia Jax has decided that she is not going to get the coronavirus vaccine when the time comes that we are allowed to get the coronavirus vaccine. Which, normal people, that's kind of a shitty thing to do just in general. Because, like, you know, I am a little nervous about vaccines that are rushed.
Mm-hmm.
It makes me like a little like, don't know what that's about. But at the same time, I'm like, at the end of the day, if it ends the pandemic, maybe I can handle the like third eye that I grow at the end, like 50 years from now.
Yeah, and for those who don't know, the WWE has had a huge COVID problem. There have been several outbreaks and many anti-maskers there.
If you didn't know, just think of it this way. Vince McMahon donates so much goddamn money to Donald Trump over the course of like the last 4 years. Should shock you. No.
To be fair, it's more so Linda McMahon. She donates more than Vince.
See, this is the thing. There was a picture released of like Vince, Linda, Stephanie, Trips, their children, everyone involved. A picture of like with Donald Trump.
Mm-hmm.
I'm just like, how much of this is like y'all agreeing to this, and how much of this is like y'all just saying yes because Vince is the overlord?
And
for the time being, I have to assume that y'all are just with him.
And no, Kayla, Nia Jax is still botching. She has gotten a little better, but she just injured somebody's shoulder last week. This person came back today, but she was injured and.
Well, I was gonna say that, to be fair, we don't know if she actually injured Mandy's shoulder last week. It was just she landed weirdly and she kind of like grabbed her arm, but that was also what should have happened after a move like that anyways.
I mean, I
don't want to give her the benefit of the doubt considering everything else that we're about to talk about. Just saying.
Kayla, she's now part of a tag team with Shayna Bazsler. So she's gotten better because Shayna very much focuses on safety, but she's still pulling some shit. I think the last time she injured somebody was back in June with Kyrie. I think.
I think so. If it wasn't June, it was earlier than that.
Yeah.
Right. So we used to hate Nia. And then Nia got paired up with Shayna, and we were like, oh my god, Nia, yay, this is fun. And then Nia Jax said, no, continue to hate me. She recently posted on her Instagram story a screenshot of it looks like it was a tweet, that says the COVID vaccine is 90% effective after 8 months of development, when the flu vaccine is 40% effective after 70 years of development. I'll go with my immune system as it is 99.9% effective. Before I criticize what Nia said in response to this, there's also multiple strains of the fucking flu. So yeah, it'd be only 40% effective because we can't actually predict what's going to fucking happen. But that's just me. What do I know? I'm not a doctor. But Nia responded to this tweet on her Instagram story with a little text box that says, God made my immune system and I trust him the most. Prayer hands. I said, honey, if that's the logic we're going by, God also made coronavirus. Oh.
And I'll be the one to take this bullet. Nia Jax, I think it's safe to say she's overweight. So her immune system is even more susceptible to COVID than a non-overweight person. So she should be a little more worried about that.
Overweight is probably not the word I would use. Just Nia is a bigger person.
Yeah.
I'm sure that she is more physically fit than you or I. But one way or another, even besides any body factors that come into it, I think the important thing to consider is the fact that, like, yeah, bitch, like, maybe God did make your immune system, like, clad in gold, like, we're fine, you're never gonna get sick.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know what he was doing, like, the last time you got, like, the fucking flu or the last time you got a fucking cold, but my thing is more so, sure, maybe God made your immune system and you're not going to get sick, but, like, what if you're carrying those fucking germs? You give it to somebody whose immune system was not made by God, was not handcrafted by the good Lord Jesus Christ. You can do that. Like, that's just...
As much as we can go on for days about how much we hate Nia Jax.
We can go on for days about.
Yeah.
All right, so let's go through the quick things real quick. First thing is, Mandy was originally from Evolve, has been signed with WWE. She is now and I hate this name, Skylar Story.
Wait. What? You said her name's Brandy Lauren? Or was?
Yes.
And what brand is she on?
She was from Evolve. She is on WWE now.
Oh, okay. I didn't even know who she was prior to this.
It's not Brandy from AEW. That's who you're thinking of.
No, I didn't know anybody named Brandy.
And then also the other thing that I think is interesting, considering everything that happened today, it is now looking like they want Edge to take the title off of The Fiend at WrestleMania, which you told me about, which is weird enough, but it's weirder when you consider the fact that this kind of implies originally it was supposed to be Edge versus Orton, because the last time we saw Edge was at Backlash, and that would make sense. Like, get your vengeance out because, Edge tore your triceps straight off your goddamn bone. But this looks like they're just trying to take Edge out of the picture altogether.
No, Randy. Randy.
Yes. Randy, sorry.
Yeah, I mean, based on what happens today, obviously it seems like Fiend is going to take the title off of Drew at some point. Or maybe The Miz takes it off of Drew and then The Fiend takes it off The Miz, because we've got months till WrestleMania. So I don't know.
I mean, I think we can confirm that Edge is probably coming back at Royal Rumble again.
Yeah.
I think that's going to happen again.
Oh yeah.
At least I'm hoping it does, because he did say, like, I don't really know where my fucking recovery's at this point. He said, well, as long as it's done by January, we're good.
Yeah.
Until January 24th, that's the end of January. You're fine.
I do like this turnaround because I don't want to see another Edge versus Randy. I'm tired. After that Backlash match, I'm like, fine. That's the greatest match ever, according to their branding. You can't top it.
That's fair.
And they had the worst. They had the worst, and they had the best.
Backlash, the one that we haven't released.
Right, Backlash. We're keeping that archived. That was messy.
Got grilled cheese afterwards, though. So,
yeah,
I just, it just a little weird. I kind of get why they wouldn't want to redo it, because, like, yeah, greatest match ever. You wouldn't want to be like, here's the second greatest match ever.
Yeah, here's the real greatest match ever.
I feel like it's gonna be weird for them to be like, hey, here's Edge, and now he's fighting the Fiend. Now the Fiend has the title. It seems like they're taking a storyline that, like, would normally take a couple of, like, at least 6 months to do. There's like 4. Thank you. I'm like, all right, sure.
Also, real quick, Kayla's bringing us back around to Nia Jax and brought up a Reddit comment that said Nia's really leaning into that unsafe reputation. Yeah. It's her life now.
She's botching moves, but she's also botching life choices. It's a vibe, honestly. I love when people stick to kayfabe.
Meanwhile, Shayna Bazsler is just watching her like, oh God, oh no.
I thought about this, and, like, I know a lot of tag teams, like, you have to be invested in your tag team partner's health, because if they get fucked, then you might be fucked too. Shayna, the fact that, like, this still doesn't seem like a tag team born out of, like, original fabric, just something that was slapped together. Shayna is still able to come out of this, like, Shayna.
Yeah.
She can stand alone. So that's cool. I'm at least happy that she's gonna be okay.
And thank you, Corey, for following. Thank you.
Hello, Corey. All right, let's do the thing that we have to do.
Is it about Drake Wirtz?
It's about Drake Wirtz. Isn't it interesting that we did not see Drake Wirtz once tonight? So, I mean, for all of y'all that don't watch the WWE regularly and don't know the referees by name because you haven't gotten that far into it because you're not insane, which I can't stand for. I've done that. So, anyways, Drake Wirtz is a senior referee, senior official, I guess, with the WWE. He's been working with them for goddamn million in 9 years. And he seemed like a normal ass dude for a really long time because, it's just a referee. You really shouldn't know that much about their personal life because that's all you only need to know that they counted 3. That's all that matters. And sometimes 10. So Drake Wuertz recently came into our line of vision because Drake Wuertz and Bobby Fish, I don't want to talk about this part though, have been friends. Bobby Fish is a very devout Christian man, as I would expect from upstate New York, but a very religious dude. He showed up at a Save Our Children rally, I guess, with Drake. Drake seemed to be leading this whole fucking thing. Like, he was a speaker at it, which was weird. And so that already made me uncomfortable. Very QAnon-y, whatever.
Yeah, because for context, those Save Our Children events are put on by QAnon.
Right, it's a movement that was corrupted by QAnon. Originally, it was just to, make sure kids didn't get sold into sex trafficking, and then QAnon was like, but the politicians are fucking them, and it became a thing.
Yeah.
With that said, so Drake has been associated with QAnon shit for a little while now, and has taken other wrestlers under with him at the same time. David Bixenspan, who's a reporter, and has been for a little bit now, tweeted, I believe, on Saturday about the Drake Wuertz problem in WWE, which is, to start with, he was using his WWE work email to coordinate his fundraising for a QAnon-adjacent charity, Save Our Children, including offering to get WWE talent, Bobby Fish, for an event. And in addition, he used his email to talk about Candy Cartwright, which a wrestler that we'll talk about later was associated with because there's rumors that he sexually assaulted her, and it was a whole fucking thing, and it still is. I still can't love him, which is painful, but it's a very long, twisted web. But he uses WWE to basically, as a header, almost, for a retaliation claim to Candy Cartwright because he was the one who canceled all of her matches, which was half the reason why she ended up bringing her lawsuit forward against the guy that we will talk about later. Because he basically ruined her career, as it seems. So we're gonna look past the Candy Cartwright stuff. That's gonna have to be done on Wednesday, because it's so much stuff to talk about, and we don't have that much time. Drake Wuertz, man in question here, has also been on the lovely alt-right social media site Parler. And not only that, he has also been involved with Proud Boys. And I tweeted about this because I was upset. It sucks when you watch the WWE and you watch them for so fucking long and you see people that you really like because they're from your hometown go up in the WWE and you're like, yay, this is fun. And then you see people who might be preying on them, aka Drake Wuertz, and I 100% should be saying Bobby Fish is in the same group as him. Can't bring myself to. It just sucks so much to think like I like Drake Wuertz. He was the cool little referee. He was a cool little main dude that was always in the main event matches and shit. Besides Charles, it just sucks so fucking much. I don't understand how it is this hard to not be a fucking bigot. I don't get it.
And
just don't.
I also want to add that Drake Wuertz also gave support and good wishes to Joey King, who was a wrestler on Impact who was released after accusations of sexual assault from several women. So, not only is he just, subjectively a bad person, Drake Wuertz, but he is objectively supporting bad people. Oh, God, okay, so
I want to spend 4 hours talking about it because it upsets me so much. But at the same time, it's you consider, okay, he's working for the WWE. What's Vince gonna fucking do about it? Nothing.
Well, the thing with WWE is they don't fire people for having potentially harmful ideologies and associating themselves with hateful groups. And for straight up sexually assaulting people, i.e. Velveteen Dream, allegedly.
So they just bury them, except for Velveteen Dream.
Yeah. So,
The thing is, it's like, I think, like, oh, well, maybe I can, like, go and, like, watch a different wrestling show. And then I remember the only other one that's, like, big enough for, like, a network television spot is AEW with Chris Jericho. And I'm like, all right, well.
yeah, but that's one.
Be disappointed either way.
That's one horrible person, as opposed to WWE's, like, 50.
Sure. We won't dig that deep into AEW right now.
The Young Bucks, even though they're assholes, they don't count.
Sure. Until we find out their political leanings. I go on to matches and promos before I cry.
I like Cody. Cody Rhodes is cool.
I like Cody too, but Cody's a very Americana boy, and I don't trust that either.
But he's like no, I don't even want to compare him to John Cena because I don't know what's in John Cena's closet. Because John Cena's like very Americana, but he's not like alt-right.
Hardcore support our troops, but also if you've watched Total Bells, Total Divas. I don't know if there's a lot just like even happening up here with him.
Mm-hmm.
Besides just kind of being a sad boy on the side.
He seems like a sociopath.
Dude, he straight up is just like, he internalizes every like thing that's ever happened to him to the point where it becomes very annoying for anybody that has to deal with him on a personal level. I kind of feel bad about that.
Kayla agrees he's definitely a sociopath and fucking weird.
Okay, so I don't know how much Kayla has seen of, if she's seen Total Divas.
She says in the reality shows he's fucking weird.
Okay. I've watched, I think, season 1 of Total Divas, and there were a lot of times where he just, like, the way he reacted to certain things, it was just monotone. No matter what the subject was, it was just monotone, straight up, like, bizarre. Like, he knew he had problems on the inside, and didn't act on them until somebody was like, hey, that's wrong. He's like, oh, okay, that is wrong. All right. And then went to fix them, and I was like, what? He straight up, like, he was telling, like, I think it was Brie. I think she, like, had an injury or something, and he was like, hey, maybe you shouldn't wrestle with the injury. And then later it was found out that he, like, completely, like, fucked up. Like, he destroyed his goddamn elbow and was still wrestling on it. She was like, hey, your elbow's the size of, like, a fucking softball. Do you want to get that checked out? He's like, nah, I'm fine. She's like...
Kayla said she's watched some of Total Bellas, but stopped watching because John Cena was so goddamn controlling.
Fucking contract he made her sign, dude. I saw that shit and I was like, I get it, you've been in bad relationships, so have I. I didn't make Mark sign a goddamn contract, though. It's just a little weird, dude.
But as much as I would love to go off on John Cena, we do need to move on to matches and promos. Alright, so...
I guess.
I hope I retain all of the memories of all of the promos, because I'm just going to go right off memory here.
I feel like it was 4 years ago.
Oh, yeah. But we started off with Drew McIntyre, who will later be challenging Randy Orton for the WWE title. In the ring, he's talking, mainly talking about Randy. He's coming out in a nice gray t-shirt as opposed to his normal black one.
It was green. We found out later it was green. He was backstage
green?
again.
Oh.
Yes. It was like a teal.
Oh. I don't know why it showed up as gray. But yeah, he's talking about, you know, it's normal Drew stuff, talking shit about Randy, talking about his time with Roman on SmackDown. And then Randy comes up on the Jumbotron, as opposed to facing him in the ring. And this is where I don't really remember. They're kind of just going back and forth, talking shit, I guess. Right? Am I wrong?
Yeah, they were talking shit for a while.
Okay.
That wasn't where it ended.
I know. So they're talking shit, and then The Miz comes in. The Miz comes in with his little briefcase, the Money in the Bank briefcase, and John Morrison. And I was a little back and forth on whether I wanted The Miz to get the briefcase off of Otis, but I'm so happy with him having it because I am actually like anxious on like what match he's gonna use it on, like what title, because like he's very antsy with it, and I can't wait for him to use it at SummerSlam, or not SummerSlam, Survivor Series. They both start with SU. But yeah, it's kind of just the normal back and forth we've been seeing. The Miz is talking about how he wants to redeem the briefcase, wants to use the contract, get the title, yada yada yada. Whether it's on Drew or on Randy, he doesn't care. He just wants a title, and I love this. The Bray didn't come in during this, right? He came in later. Okay. So after that, we had a little teaser that we're getting Shayna, Nia, and Lana versus Asuka, Mandy Rose, and Dana Brooke. And we had a little promo leading up to that with Lana, Shayna Baszler, and Nia Jax backstage, or rather in like the little lobby room.
Gorilla.
What was it?
Gorilla.
Yeah, that.
Gorilla position.
Oh, the gorilla position. Oh, that's so weird. The little
I think it's just gorilla position. I don't think there's the, which feels very weird to say.
Mm-hmm.
Still.
Well, in the gorilla position, we have Lana, Shayna, and Nia talking. Lana's like, it's all about prepping themselves for Survivor Series and how like Lana's gonna prove herself to be like an actual teammate for them. But Shayna and Nia aren't buying it. They're not. Shayna's telling her not to fuck up and not to tag herself in no matter what. Lana agrees, so there shouldn't be any problems, right? But then we get to the actual match, and Liz, this is on you.
Alright. We had Lana, Shayna, Nia versus Mandy, Dana, Asuka. So Shayna immediately tags Lana out. Lana goes to start the match, but Shayna's like, no. She gets in. Dana attacks her. You thought this was a weird move. I thought this was a really cool move. It was basically Shayna like hip checked Dana, held on to her, and threw her down into a backbreaker. I thought it was very cool. I love a little combination.
It looked like it was just executed a little awkwardly, like she was just kind of standing there for a second, and then after the move was executed, she kind of like took a step back and then went in for just a random kick.
Well, I mean, the kick was separate. I think that the actual like hip check into like the backbreaker was kind of cool. Like it like Dana was running at her, hip check stops her, backbreaker hurts her. I think that's defense, offense right there. But then there's a knee strike to Dana. Shayna throws Dana from the ring before kind of teasing Lana, like, you want to tag in? You want to tag in? Before tagging Nia in. Nia then pops off the apron, goes down to ringside, lifts Dana, but Mandy attacks her, so Nia knocks her to the ground, lifts her up, brings her over to the stairs, steel steps, and Shayna just stomps on her elbow. Mark says that he doesn't think it hit her at all. I think it looked like it hit her directly.
Okay.
The response to the attack looked painful.
Also, you said Dana. It was Mandy.
Oh, sorry.
And Mandy was the one who had the shoulder injury, for those who don't know. And Shayna has a move where she puts her opponent's arm up like this, hand against the floor, against the mat. And then she stomps right on the elbow. And normally their opponent would like bring it to the side or bring it up like this, I guess. Mandy's didn't go anywhere. It stayed like this. And the camera was coming from this direction. So The elbow was kind of in the way of the foot coming down. Same with like the Mandy's head and everything. So it
And
could have,
Nia's body.
yeah. The foot could have went right past the elbow, using some like camera tricks, but
The moment of contact was not obvious.
yeah,
I think that's what made me personally think, because like normally the move is foot goes straight out like it's going to hit, but it goes over and pushes her over.
yeah.
This didn't look like that at all, and because it's not against a padded mat, it felt even more like, oh. And also, I mean, to be fair, if Mandy was faking it, sign that bitch up for Scream Queens right now, because she did a goddamn good job of acting in pain.
And then she was gone for the rest of the match.
Right, which is what makes me even more suspicious of my original thought, which is Mandy's hurt, which is Chelsea Green broke her wrist on SmackDown last Friday and vanished from the ring, and everyone was like, where the fuck did Chelsea go? And then we found out she was injured, so it's like, I wonder if they were just playing into that like suspicion that everyone had, where they were like, hey, Chelsea Green was part of this tag, and now she's gone. But either way, Shayna stomped her elbow against the stairs. That was the last we saw of Mandy. We cut to commercial break as she writhed on the ground. Shayna was back in against Dana, trying to fuck up Dana's arm in the exact same way. Dana dodged her, rolled her up into the buckle. Asuka got in. There was a shoulder tackle to Shayna. There was a hit to the face of Shayna, and then Asuka kicked her in the jaw. Nia comes through to take Dana off the apron to avoid her interfering. There's a Kirifuda clutch on Asuka, and Shayna's stupid enough to like pull that submission hold as she backs into the buckles. Lana tags herself in like a little dipshit. She kicks Asuka in the face once Shayna's like, oh shit, I'm not the legal man, I can't get her out. Asuka kicks Lana upside the fucking head, gets the Asuka lock cinched in on her. Lana taps out within the next 2 seconds, and Shayna and Nia are both like, why the fuck would you do that? Why would you do something so stupid? Nia convinces Lana, oh, you know what? Never mind. Welcome to Team Raw. Congrats. You're here. And slams her through the announce desk for the 9th or 10th time.
It was the 9th time, because they did a count before the match started, showing every single one of the times that Nia Samoa dropped Lana into the announce desk.
We are getting close to the inaugural 10th Samoan drop through the announce desk.
Maybe it'll happen at Survivor Series.
We really should like buy a bottle of champagne just in case. Just pop that one on the 10th.
And I'm one of the biggest Lana apologists you'll ever meet. I love her to death. But she knew full well not to tag in. She acknowledged Shayna saying not to tag herself in. And she saw that Shayna was about to win the match for them, but she still tagged in. That was some dumb bullshit right there.
I want Lana to win, and I understood that like they kept throwing her through the announce desk because like they want us to feel bad for her. I did start feeling kind of bad for her, especially after Mandy and Dana approached her last Monday, and like they were like, please leave us the fuck alone. I felt bad for her.
Mm-hmm.
And now I'm just sitting here like,
well, dumb.
You just look like a dipshit tonight, dude.
Yeah.
Like, why would you? If your home run hitter is up to bat, if you know he hits a home run every time he's at bat against a pitcher, why would you take him out? That doesn't make sense.
Mm-hmm.
I don't fucking. No, cheers. Whatever.
All right. So after that, we had a promo with the men's Raw Survivor Series team. Because they're backstage, they're still arguing. They've been arguing since they were formed. And AJ has this brilliant idea, like, hey, we gotta, if we want to like connect, if we want to like mesh together and get along, we need to face a team that is just a team nobody likes, just the worst. And so they challenge Retribution, who, for those who don't watch wrestling, Retribution is basically a conservative's image of the Black Lives Matter movement, and they're shaped as bad guys in WWE. So they talk about facing Retribution, a team nobody likes, and everyone. Sheamus is still mad about Matt Riddle's code names for them, or sorry, Riddle's code names for them. And they're all fine with facing Retribution, whatever. But AJ's still pretending he's the captain of the team. I'm still waiting for Shane McMahon to come out and just be like, "Hey guys, I am your coach." But I guess that won't happen. But then after that, we had yeah.
You're overlooking the most important part of this promo.
What's that?
Which is that Jordan, AJ's bodyguard, finally got to speak.
No, I was getting to that.
Oh, okay, I'm sorry.
The Raw logo disappeared again.
What? No! I don't want to do Great American Bash again.
We're gonna have to do. We're doing SmackDown. We're SmackDown now. All right.
I don't want to be SmackDown again.
I don't know why the Raw logo is so glitched. Okay, so what is it? So after they kind of agree on facing Retribution, the rest of the team walks away minus AJ's bodyguard, Jordan, and Riddle. And Riddle, who's come up with all these nicknames for the team, looks up at Jordan and says, "Hey man, I've got a nickname for you." And AJ's like, "No, you do not talk to him. Don't even look him in the goddamn eye." And I don't know what Riddle said. It was like Omo or something. Huh?
Omos or something like
Omos?
that. Omos.
You know, here.
Yeah.
Let me look it up. And in the meantime, I'll continue explaining what happened in the rest of this. So Riddle walked away after Jordan kind of acknowledged the nickname. And then AJ was like, "I didn't know you spoke English." And he was like, "Yeah, I do. You just never asked." And then Riddle's like, "I have so many questions." Oh, it was so good. I'm still looking it up, by the way.
I do love the idea that AJ was just so up in his own ass that he never even bothered.
Yeah.
I'm also glad that Jordan finally got a chance to fucking talk. He's almost literally never had a goddamn line for the entire time that he's been brought onto Raw.
Mm-hmm.
He's really been brought onto Raw as, like, as much as I hate to say it, a prop.
Yeah.
Which sucks. But he's a massive dude. He was in NXT. It's like, you got a massive dude. You got a lot of massive dudes that he could fucking fight. Make him a wrestler?
Let's see. Yeah, no, this article doesn't say a nickname either. It doesn't specify. So, I think he called him Omos because his name is Omagbahim. Yeah.
I might be pronouncing that entirely wrong.
So after that, we had an interview with Dana Brooke. As she's standing outside of the medical room where Mandy is being held. And before she can even answer a question, Reckoning, aka Mia Yim from Retribution, comes out of nowhere and slams Dana Brooke's head into a bunch of cases. I love Mia Yim. And somehow she's gotten cuter being in Retribution. Um, and
Then she has a fight, maybe.
maybe, I hope so. And I hope this might mean either Dana or Mandy are out of the... Oh no, they are both out. They were already replaced. Never mind. I got excited. I forgot about Peyton and Lacey.
Well, this is almost kind of good for Mia because now Mia's the reason that their tag team is definitely not going to Survivor Series.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Dana, Kayla,
Storyline.
Dana has stopped botching, I think. She's still awkward, but we haven't seen her like injure anyone.
Dana has basically gone from being kind of dangerous in the ring to being so safe. It's almost like, why are you here?
She's just like a gymnast. That's it.
None of her moves actually connect. Nothing sells really well. It's just she'll do this cartwheel into like a slap or like a splash in the corner or something, and it looks like I'd probably get more beaten up by my cat while laying in bed than I would by Dana, which probably shouldn't be how it goes. It should be a happy balance between hurting people in the ring and looking like you're hurting people in the ring.
Which sucks because Mandy just came out of a tag team with Sonya, and Sonya was fucking badass. Mandy's also really good.
Dana's also good. Dana just sucks right now.
Yeah.
That makes sense.
She's very much left over from the what's the era? The Divas era. Yeah, she's very much left over from that, and
which is what makes me more nervous about like people like the Bella Twins saying they want to come back and Maurice, because I'm like, just come back as like Sonya Deville-esque type people, or don't.
I mean, I assume the Bella Twins will come back in the same way Carmella's back.
If they brought back the Bella Twins and botched their debut like that, I'd be done watching. I would be so mad.
But after that, we had another Firefly Funhouse. Oh, this one was wonderful because first they start with the Sister Abigail puppet sitting next to a Funko Pop of the Miz, wearing the Miz's sunglasses, and it's Alexa Bliss and Bray Wyatt, all cheerful, and then they're talking shit about the Miz. And so they're getting ready for the match against the Miz, and so Bray goes through a whole training montage to face him, which includes he blindfolds himself, does something. I don't even remember what he did.
Mercy the Buzzard and Pig.
Oh right. Yeah, he blindfolded fought those two. And then he did the spelling bee. Oh no, was it before that he did the darts, right?
No. Spelling bee, then darts.
So he did a spelling bee where Alexa Bliss, with a little card that said words, asked him to spell the word jackass. Struggles for a little bit. He says, can you use it in a sentence? Sister Abigail says, just spell the goddamn word. Jackass. And then he says, okay, jackass. M-I-Z. And then we cut to him doing the Johnny Appleseed with Ramblin' Rabbit right against the dartboard, and Bray has a little dart, and he throws at Ramblin' Rabbit, hits him right in the chest, and they're all happy because he didn't miss. My favorite ongoing continuity is just Ramblin' Rabbit dying in like every other episode.
I think it's kind of funny to me because like there's clearly a hand inside of Ramblin' Rabbit. So when Bray threw that dart, I was like, fingers crossed, I guess.
Yeah. I think that shaking was actually the hand, like, in pain.
It's not Dennis Reynolds, I can tell you that much.
But after that, they're done with the montage. I think right, they're done with the montage, right? After that.
Okay.
And then that's basically the end of the Firefly Funhouse. They cut a lot to the Thunderdome, which is annoying. Because when you're watching Firefly
I hate that
Funhouse,
shit.
yeah, you just want to watch the promo. You don't want to watch the fucking Jumbotron. But after that, we had the lead-in to the Cedric Alexander and Shelton Benjamin match against the New Day for the tag team titles. We had the Hurt Business talking in the ring. This, I don't remember what was exactly said, just because we were having like a conversation while it was going on. So to sum up, it was MVP and the rest of the Hurt Business in the ring, mentioning how they're going to get all the titles and all the gold and everything. Cedric and Shelton are going to get the tag team titles, yada, yada, yada. New Day ain't shit. Then New Day comes out, and they're continuing to talk shit. Kofi tries to give an awful joke that just didn't connect with anyone, but Xavier still supported him. And it's back and forth shit talk. You know, it's great. I love it. And then we start the match for the Raw Tag Team titles.
Sad that you missed over this one important part, which is that Kofi called the Hurt LLC the Jerk Business.
The Jerk Business. And yes, Kayla, they brought back MVP. He came back at this Royal Rumble or last year's Royal Rumble?
So, Kayla, you might appreciate this. I used to watch wrestling when I was really young. I watched it in college, and then I started watching again when the pandemic started in March over in the city. And I had not seen MVP during those periods of time where I was watching him. So when I first saw MVP, I was like, I don't vibe with this. I asked my friend whose father watches SmackDown and Raw constantly. I was like, hey, what's your dad think of MVP? And I believe her response was something along the lines of, I asked my father, and he said, that goofball? No. And I was like, all right, I'm glad we're on the same page then. Because I trust this man with any opinion, so. Yeah, so MVP, if you have not seen recent episodes of Raw, is trying to create I think this was created in the same vein as Nation of Domination. He's trying to create a business of sorts of men who will one day overtake all of the WWE and all of their gold.
And bully everyone they see.
Exactly. One member is Bobby Lashley, who has the United States Championship belt. And then there's Shelton and Cedric, who are looking for the tag team titles, which is what brings us to this match. So we start with a waist lock on Kofi. He and Cedric are kind of just grappling for a while. There's a shoulder tackle to Cedric from Kofi. Xavier gets in, and there's a splash off the ropes onto Cedric. Shelton gets in, shoulder tackle to Xavier. Xavier sends his little forearms into Shelton's face, and there's just a massive fucking drop kick. I don't think anybody does drop kicks quite like Xavier does. And to second that, outside of Xavier, no one does drop kicks quite like Kofi. And to third that, then Cedric.
Oh yeah, no, it's like him and Liv also does incredible drop kicks. Like she killed Chelsea Green with her drop kick. That's what broke her wrist. But yeah, Kayla, Bobby Lashley is fighting Sami Zayn at Survivor Series this coming Sunday.
I'm gonna tell you right now, I'm predicting Sami Zayn will win.
Oh, absolutely.
I don't think it'll happen.
Absolutely.
I have have to.
Mm-hmm.
I have to believe it'll happen. Otherwise, it's just gonna be Bobby Lashley just fucking like hurt, lockering or full Lashleying
Yeah,
him.
full Lashley.
Which I don't even think is the name of the move. I think we made that up.
It's the Hurt Lock.
I don't know if it's the Hurt Lock, and I think we just called it the full Lashley for a while, and I don't know why we did that.
I think some things do call it the full Lashley.
Tom had to have called it the full Lashley at some point.
Yeah.
Oh.
It's dumb.
Otherwise, we came up with a great fucking name for a move.
He doesn't spear much.
If Tom didn't do it, we did it.
He doesn't spear much anymore, which sucks.
Well, let's not talk about that. So Xavier and Shelton. I was trying to buy some time there to find where my notes were. So Shelton gets back up after the drop kick. He kind of bounces Xavier all over the place, and then grabs him up right into a massive fucking spine buster. Tags Cedric in. There's a drop kick to Xavier from Cedric. Also, simply amazing. I don't know where they all trained. It had to be the same goddamn person. Just because it's something about the way that the drop kick connects and they curve their body off of it. I think is kind of cool. It's almost like they're like pushing off. You know?
Mm-hmm.
Shelton gets back in. There's a chin lock on Xavier. Xavier manages to counter Shelton, picking him up into a sunset flip. Xavier is then lifted up, but wiggles free and kicks Shelton in the face. Gets Kofi in. Kofi he's got all the fucking energy in the goddamn world because this match actually never ended. He just goes off, chopping, drop kicking Shelton, sends Cedric off the apron. There's a kick to the face of Shelton and then a punch. He bounces himself off the top rope and crossbody Shelton. And there is a major fucking clothesline that just like drops Shelton in his goddamn tracks. Kofi goes for another, I believe it looked like another crossbody, maybe a moonsault of some sort, but Shelton caught him in midair. It's just fucking bizarre. The camera actually, I don't think panned up in time to catch everything that happened there because I saw Kofi going for the move, and then suddenly Shelton's just holding him, and I was like, okay, all right, sure. So Shelton caught Kofi midair and just sent him down to a buckle bomb because that's legal now. I guess for everyone but Shayna, which is probably fair. He gets Cedric back in. Cedric goes off the top rope onto Kofi, who is in Shelton's arms. He kind of just like takes Kofi's neck backwards. Made me gag a little bit. Didn't care for that. There's a jawbreaker on Shelton, from Kofi. Shelton then lifts Kofi up to the top buckle. Kofi beats Shelton down as Shelton kind of tries to meet him up there for a superplex, it looked like. Manages to hit him with the Tornado DDT. Xavier gets in. Cedric gets in. It's Xavier taking Cedric off the apron. A kick to the face on Cedric from Xavier. Shelton gets in. Xavier clotheslines him down. Sends Cedric out of the ring and knocks Shelton into the fucking rope. And then decides, let me slide out over Shelton's goddamn shoulders onto Cedric, because Cedric is technically not the legal man, but I need him to stay fucking down. So we get Cedric into the ring again. There's a missile dropkick to Cedric. Holy fuck, at this point, I think we were about 30 minutes into the fucking match. I wanted it to just end because I felt pain. I felt so much pain for this match. Because like the thing is like the New Day getting so fucked over by the WWE as it stands and still hurting my feelings with like 1, 2, 3 we miss E and me just saying
yeah,
that's fine. I couldn't also stand for them to lose their fucking titles.
Oh yeah, for those who haven't been caught up on WWE, they split up the New Day.
In case you're wondering, it's painful. It's about as painful as you would imagine it being. I don't think that the New Day really knew that this was happening up until very shortly before the draft happened. And not only was there sobbing from the three men on the day of the draft because Big E looked like he was about to fucking kill himself, then they had a farewell match at the season finale of SmackDown, which isn't a season finale if there's another episode next week. It's fine. But they had their season finale and their farewell episode where Xavier and Kofi, Xavier especially, was just sobbing. That was fine. It's fine. It didn't hurt me at all. I felt nothing.
Kayla just said Vince can eat my ass. Fuck Vince. And that's exactly how we feel.
We were so hyped up for the fucking draft too, because like the Raw half of the draft happened, and we were like, "Oh, okay, cool! Like some fresh blood. Like things are getting moved around. That's awesome." And then the SmackDown half happened. Xavier, who had been gone since 2019, I think, finally came back. And I was so fucking excited because Xavier was back and the New Day was together and it was all three of them. And then they broke them up 5 seconds after Xavier came back, and I said...
In the draft, for no reason.
Xavier, it was like literally his return match, because he had a match because he came back. It was Xavier and Kofi versus Cesaro and Shinsuke, I think. And then they were like, oh, anyways, round 3 of the draft on SmackDown. And the New Day, Kofi and Xavier, are going to Raw. And I said...
And then Xavier was like, you didn't say E. Say E, goddammit. But anyway, let's go back to the match. The match in hand.
Does that mean like top 10 greatest anime character deaths or whatever it is? That's how I felt.
Top 10 anime betrayals.
And I was rooting for Stephanie the whole fucking time. I feel like a fucking bum screaming and drinking a beer while covered in a blanket. Anyways. So, alright. There's a kick to the midsection of Cedric. Kofi tags in on that. And another missile drop kick to Cedric. Shelton interferes on the cover. There's a pump knee strike to Xavier from Shelton, prohibiting him from getting back into the ring. Kofi is then thrown from the ring. And then Cedric says, oh my god, I want a couple days off, and tries to break his fucking neck twice by spearing Kofi through the ropes into the fucking barricade, where we have now seen, I believe, 2 neck injuries happen. One that's keeping somebody out for a year.
Cedric completely missed, too. He just went right into the wall, didn't even touch Kofi at all. And then he goes for it again.
It was a suicide mission. It was straight up a suicide mission. Like, you and I both, like, watched that, and we were like, no. And then he got back up and was like, okay, we're fine. And then he did it again. I was like, oh, no. God. Like, it was... I don't like the barricade. The barricade's been fucking everybody up lately.
Would you rather have the plexiglass barrier?
I don't know. It's just like, because there was there's a tag team on Raw called the Viking Raiders. I think they were originally on NXT. But one of the members, Ivar, during a match that we were watching, dove out of the ring, just like Cedric did tonight, and knocked his head into the barricade straight on, crushing like his neck into his like spine. If you get neck surgery, he's fine, but like also
he's out for a year.
It's a fine. Yeah, he's out for a year. It's a fine line between that and God, I always forget his name, like Dojak or whatever his name was, who had his neck. Huh?
Dijak.
Not Dijak.
Oh.
No. Dojak, he was the guy in Brawl for All who had like his neck compressed into his spine, and now he's paralyzed.
Yeah.
So it always makes me uncomfortable. But anyways, Shelton gets back in. Shelton begins throwing Kofi around against every conceivable surface he can find. There is a spinebuster to Kofi from Shelton. Kofi still fucking kicks out. Christ on a cracker. Jesus fucking wept. I need this match to be over. It was painful. Cedric gets in. There's an inverted atomic drop to Kofi from Cedric. There's a kick to the face of Kofi from Shelton. And then a spine buster to Kofi. Xavier luckily breaks up the fucking cover. Because then we get a super kick to Cedric. Shelton tries to attack still. Kofi lifts Cedric out of the fucking ring. Sends a Trouble in Paradise down to Shelton. And we get the Daybreak to Cedric from Xavier. New Day fucking wins. Oh my god, why did I have to sit through this? I was in pain.
Also, can I just mention, what is with 205 Live guys and selling shit like crazy? Because you have Cedric, who goes far and beyond to sell that what was the name of that finisher? The one Xavier did.
Daybreak?
Yeah. He flipped his ass to sell that Daybreak, and Murphy sells shit crazy all the time. And they both came up on 205 Live. I want to say Ricochet did too, and he
Cedric
goes.
Did too.
Yeah, that's why I mentioned Cedric. But did Ricochet come up through 205 Live?
I'm not sure on that. It would make sense because he is probably a cruiserweight.
If he did, then I don't know what they're feeding their 205 Live rosters, but they know how to sell stuff.
I'm on a computer that does not run fast enough for this, but I do also wonder what brands they came up through.
Mm-hmm.
I know that there's a lot of people like from New Japan Pro Wrestling, between Finn, Adam Cole, I think Adam Cole, I might be wrong. But between Finn, Kyle O'Reilly, Bobby Fish, Ricochet, a lot of people that came up through New Japan, Kenny Omega, Hangman, all have very similar fighting styles.
Kayla confirmed Ricochet was from 205 Live. Also, Ricochet, along with a lot of other people, came in through Lucha Underground. Just like Karrion Kross, MVP. She said maybe he wasn't, but yeah, Lucha Underground.
It is important to note, though, that as much as like wrestling has become a very commodified thing, especially the WWE, AEW, all these things like in America, the two founding blocks of modern day wrestling, and a lot of the wrestlers that we both enjoy, either come from Japanese pro wrestling or lucha style South American wrestling. I think that's very important to note because there's been very few times where I'm just like, oh, I love this wrestler, and then I find out that like he's only been trained through all American like circuits and stuff like that. 9 times out of 10, they've spent a considerable amount of time either south of the border or in Japan.
Yeah.
And frankly, people that have come up through the New Japan Pro Wrestling circuit, so fun. They're my favorite wrestlers. Consistently. Like Kyle O'Reilly, Finn. Amazing.
Which is why we gotta watch AEW, because of Kenny Omega.
If we could, I would.
But Kayla said that he keeps coming up in 205 searches, but now it's looking like he came up through NXT after Lucha Underground. It might also be, he might also done 205 Live, because a lot of people in 205 Live also do NXT. It's very weird how they do that. Yes?
It's also probably worth pointing out that, coming up through NXT directly, 9 times out of 10, you're a much better wrestler than anybody else. As we've seen. A lot of people that have come up directly through NXT have, unfortunately, a lot of them have had their stories buried or their skills buried by the main roster.
Yeah.
But going a little further back pre-pandemic, people like Ricochet who have come up through NXT.
Seth Rollins.
Are typically very good. Yeah. Seth, Drew came up through NXT once he was fired. He came back through there.
Jinder.
Jinder Mahal, Andrade, who I don't even know if he still exists anymore.
Angel Garza.
He's supposed to be out for another couple. I think Andrade is supposed to be out for another month or two, though.
You think so?
Yeah, because he had much like Charlotte, he had an elective surgery, I think.
Finn Balor.
Like the same nose or something.
Kayla asked, why is Finn Balor back down in NXT? It's because he legitimately chose to go there, which it might fit him better being in there. Yes.
Can I speak on this? Finn Balor actually, he said specifically that, I don't know if this was part of kayfabe or not, but basically his whole point was in terms of like press releases, he said that he wanted to go back down to NXT because it was more it's a more real wrestling circuit than the main roster is. Main roster is a lot of glitz and glam and not as much skill. NXT is a lot of proving yourself. But a lot of people say that he also chose to stay down in NXT because the schedule was easier. It was less tiring for him, and he's kind of an older guy, so it makes sense. But honestly, if this was not his original reason, it should be now. NXT is where the actual talent is.
But Finn's one of the rare cases where even when he was on the main roster, he still shined a lot because he had amazing matches like against The Fiend was his last match on the main roster. He also went against I think he went against Brock Lesnar. He was amazing on the main roster, but it's a shame that he had to still keep his Demon Prince persona and wasn't able to just be the Finn Balor that he is now in NXT. I feel like we're delving. Oh, sorry. You can finish.
I was gonna say that I think that like him going back down to NXT was the best thing he could have done for his fucking career at this point.
He's the first 2-time NXT champion. But I feel like we're delving too far away from where we're at on Raw. So let's get.
I love talking about Finn.
Let's get back on track.
Wait. Also, very quick note. Kayla, I think you would enjoy this. He has a clothing line called Peak. It's P-E, like the little and sign, K.
Ampersand?
Ampersand, yeah. P-E ampersand K. I have one of his shirts, and I really like it. I'm probably going to buy another one soon when I have money again. Just saying, I feel like you might like it.
It's a great clothing line.
Maybe one day Finn Balor will sponsor me. We're from the same Irish area.
You're not actually.
Told me.
Your family's from there.
Yeah, I know. Irish Catholic, baby.
But moving on to our next promo, we have Drew McIntyre and Sheamus backstage. The Celtic connection coming back. Drew's just minding his own business, and Sheamus is like, "Hey, bud, hey." He just wants to remind him that he exists and wants to be friends with Drew again.
Or so Sheamus is standing there and he's like, "Hey, Drew, come over." And Drew's like, "Why?" Like off camera, he's like, "Why am I coming?" And Sheamus is like, "No, come over here. I've got something to show you." And Drew's like, "I've got shit to do tonight."
And then Sheamus says, I've got something to show you. I've got a little gift for you. He has this massive fucking like wooden chest, like a pirate's chest. And he opens it up, and you just see like some black and blue like leather in there. And then off to the side, Sheamus comes out with a fucking giant sword, like a claymore, because Drew's whole thing is the claymore kick in Claymore Country. He gives Drew the claymore, and why are they doing this? They better make this a tag team. They better.
No. I mean, yes, sorry. The no was not about the tag team. If they make them a tag team, fine, because I love my favorite trope in the world is this asshole dude who's got one best friend, and his one best friend is a really good guy.
Mm-hmm.
It's just, I think that the anniversary of Drew's mom passing happened relatively recently, and that was only a couple of years ago now. And Sheamus was like, "Hey, I know like your family was really good to my family. Like your mom was like really close to me. Really cared for her. And she told me these stories about like this thing that belonged to you as far as heritage is concerned, more or less."
Mm-hmm.
And for him to bring out this fucking chest with Drew's old gear, all the shit that he wore when he first debuted for WWE, and Drew fucking looking like he was about to cry, like, it broke me on the inside, because I was like, it's just so sweet. Like, that's the shit that he wore. Like, if you look up Drew McIntyre in like his debut. That's the shit he wore. And it fucking broke me down.
They got to be setting up something with them. I mean, they've been having them come together every week for the past 3 or 4 weeks.
But what if it's just like pals, 2 pals just chilling? Like, maybe this will be a good opportunity for Drew to turn Sheamus in a more likable light. Sheamus has been a heel for a little while now.
Not just any heel.
Maybe this is the time that Drew's like.
Sheamus has been like a pathetic heel, like just the heel that does nothing, just gets in babyface's ways.
I think that this is a good time for it, like Drew to be like, "Hey, dude, you're kind of being an asshole," and Sheamus being like, "Oh, you think so?"
Mm-hmm.
All right. I feel like the only person that could say that to Sheamus at this point is Drew.
Yeah.
I don't think there's anyone else.
Cesaro, but he's on SmackDown.
Cesaro had his chance. It's just this promo broke me.
Yeah. After that, though, we had a promo with Retribution. Oh my god.
Retribution?
Retribution. God, I don't even remember. Retribution, whenever they come on, in my mind, they just all their words are just muffled. Like, I don't hear anything they say. It's gibberish at this point. I mean, they're just accepting the fucking AJ Styles challenge. That's it. They're gonna fight the Survivor Series team. That's it. So after that, we have the men's Raw Survivor Series team versus Retribution. In an 8-man tag match.
I genuinely just want Sheamus to learn to be a team player. Like, I understand that I relate to it on the sense that, like, I am also not a team player. But Sheamus gets paid to be one, so.
Yeah.
Alright, let's start. Braun, Keith Lee, Sheamus, and Matt Riddle, who is the person that we were discussing earlier in the news, in relation to Candy Cartwright and whatever in God's name was happening there. I used to love Matt Riddle for 5 seconds when he was on NXT, and then he got moved to the main roster, and we found out everything. We were like, fuck.
Allegedly, because things are still very much up in the air.
Every time I think I know what's going on with that story, and I'm like, oh, WWE is just fucking a woman over, and something else happens, and I'm like...
Well, at the very least, what we can confirm is he's an asshole. Because everybody backstage hates him.
Apparently, a lot of people in the locker room fucking hate Matt Riddle, which is fair enough, because his wife also instigated herself in the sense...
Inserted, thank you.
Inserted herself by... kind of saying that Seth Rollins' wife, the wonderful, amazing girlfriend,
Beyonce.
I don't know, Beyonce, Becky Lynch, the woman that I aspire to be one day. Matt Riddle's wife implied that she doesn't train hard enough because she's doesn't have the body shape that Matt Riddle's wife would have desired her to have. I guess, I don't know. So Matt Riddle's wife said that, and now Matt Riddle's like, why does Seth hate me? Well, I can tell you why. Anyways. So, yes. Braun, Keith Lee, Sheamus, Riddle versus Retribution. We first have Riddle versus Slap Chad.
Slapjack, aka the missile for Retribution.
AKA my hero. Future husband. Slap Chad.
Slingshot.
Slingshot. Rids goes for the sleeper hold, but he just kind of like I think he went for the sleeper hold and slapstick, Slapchad, Slapjack. Launched him. Slapney. Slap Daddy Page. Launches Riddle over his shoulders. Slaps then gets suplexed once and twice. T-bone steak is then Pele kicked by Riddle by trying to break up the fucking cover. Riddle Teebs takes Keith Lee off the ropes and is then senton. I'm not gonna say the stupid fucking name for the move. It's just a fucking senton. Every goddamn time they say the fucking name for that move for Matt, I'm like,
What's the name of it?
I wouldn't know.
What? No. What's the name? For those who don't know, just what's the name of the move?
It's called a senton.
It's called a broton.
It's called a senton though, isn't it? Isn't it interesting how that works?
Also, we're not sponsored by Budweiser.
Thank you for getting me drunk, Budweiser. Just kidding. You didn't get me drunk. It's Budweiser. The slogan for them. So Sheamus then is standing on the apron, just desperately trying to be tagged in, and so is Braun. And Sheamus wants it a little more than Braun does, so he slaps Braun's hand out of the way. Braun then pushes Sheamus off the apron. Sheamus then, in retaliation, pulls Braun off the apron. AJ tries to interfere, but Braun shoves AJ into Jordan. Jordan's like, hey, okay, I'll fucking kill you. So that's probably fair. You probably could destroy Braun. Mace gets in. Mace then tags in Slapjack, and then Beans is tagged in, and Mace and T-Bar Aroni sends Slapjack cannonballing into Riddle. A fucking projectile. Mustafa gets in, just starts talking shit to
Mustafa.
AJ.
Mustafa.
Mustafa?
I believe so.
Mustafa gets in. So talking shit to AJ Styles, who's on the ringside, just commentating. Just in time to be fucking clubbed by Matt Riddle. Then he pulls off a neckbreaker onto Riddle, begins stomping him in the corner. Little Thumbelina gets in. Dio gets in. There's a team super kick to Riddle's face. And then somehow Slapjack gets in. There's an ankle lock on the dude. Slaps, launches Riddle, and then kicks him. There is a suplex to Slapjack. Keith Lee gets in. Mustafa gets in. Mustafa immediately gets out the moment he fucking sees Keith Lee. And it's Dio versus Keith, and T-Bar versus Keith, and Slapjack versus Keith. Because Keith is just kind of running into them in the corner. Yes. Slapjack gets thrown into Keith. Keith then shoulder tackles Slapjack into the next goddamn century. And then starts using him as a weapon against T-Bar and Mace. Mace and T-Bar then pull Keith from the ring. Mustafa kicks him into the announce desk. Braun does what Braun does best by running into everybody. Slapjack has a good lead on him. He runs out, tries to escape him, but is then rogue kicked by Sheamus. Sheamus tags in. Braun tags in on Sheamus. AJ is sitting on the commentator side, just so fucking disappointed in everyone that he's chosen for this team. Sheamus and Braun start fighting. Braun sends Sheamus far away from the ring. Riddle tags in on Braun. Braun gets mad at him. He shoves Riddle. Riddle is then shoved into Braun by Mustafa, and Mustafa rolls him up to win. And they just look like the happiest little band of fellas. Little Retribution over there. Just having a good fucking time. While AJ laments the fact that he fucking has these people on his team, and he has chosen himself as the team fucking captain.
Is it just like a common theme with Raw where the Survivor Series teams need to have infighting? Because it's both the women and the men. They're all just infighting for no reason.
It makes sense because, like, you're taking the best of the best, yes, and putting them all together despite their differences, despite, like, the running feuds that are happening. So, I guess it makes sense.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know.
But after that, we had a promo with Nikki Cross, where she's searching backstage for Alexa Bliss. She's desperately asking everyone, where's Alexa, where's Alexa? And what makes this even more sad and a little pathetic is if you look at Nikki Cross's Instagram, all she's been posting for her past 8 or 9 posts is her and Alexa Bliss, like everything they've been through, how they were best friends, and now Alexa Bliss is being mind controlled. But then I think it was Kayla or Charlie. It wasn't either. No.
Neither of them were on tonight. Besides for the in ring, and by in ring I mean the in fake ring that they have promos.
I don't know why they had that ring.
This was 100% just like Sarah or Mackenzie, whichever blonde one it was tonight.
Yeah, well, they continue a little bit further, and they find Jeff Hardy. They find Jeff Hardy looking at a flyer, and he's like, "What is this? I'm innocent. I'm innocent, I swear." But somebody who's innocent wouldn't get that mad. It's a flyer made by Elias to catch whoever crashed the car into him. Back in, what was it, July? June
or July. One of the J months.
It's been about 4 or 5 months.
It's been too long.
Yeah. And so, Jeff Hardy's mad. And then we go to Elias in the locker room, who was approached by Jeff, and he's like, "What the hell is this, man? I'm innocent. I didn't crash the car into you." And Elias, oh yeah, they're still doing the car thing, Harry. They're still doing the car thing.
Shockingly.
And what is it? Elias is like, "I know you know who did it." Yeah.
Elias says, "You're the only one who knows exactly what happened." Because Elias was fucking around, just walking, getting hit by a car. The car, potentially driven by Jeff, was driven by Jeff. It's just, the thing that throws me is, it's like, if you didn't hit Elias with the car, why wouldn't you want wanted posters saying, "Hey, if anyone has information about what the fuck happened here, let me know."
Mm-hmm.
Like, why wouldn't you want that to happen? Because then, like, that somebody could come forward and be like, "Oh, well, it was so and so," and you're completely exonerated.
Yeah. There's no reason he should be getting this defensive. I mean, Jeff Hardy knows it was somebody with a red hair and red beard. Elias should know who hit him. He should have been able to see out of the windshield, or through the windshield, of who hit him. And we thought this whole time, we've been waiting for Elias to come back, because he was the missing piece to all of this. But we're still just getting back and forth on,
We know it was Sammy.
Yeah, it was 100% Sami Zayn, and they're probably avoiding it because Sammy's on SmackDown, and these guys are on Raw. Oh my god.
Do you smell WrestleMania?
Maybe. It'd be such a...
I smell WrestleMania.
I smell TLC.
I was gonna say, I also smell being let down constantly by this fucking storyline.
Oh, yeah. So after that, we had Miz and Morrison in the ring talking prior to the match between Miz and Bray Wyatt. They're talking. Oh God, what were they talking about? Do you remember?
Just about anything.
Anything?
No, I have no clue.
Oh,
I did not take any notes until Alexa Bliss came in.
I know they talked about the Miz's reality show, Miz and Mrs., that is premiering a new episode right after Raw's over. They talked about just about everything. And then Alexa Bliss comes out with a new distorted walkout. It's amazing, but also
So fucking good.
the fact that Alexa can get a new walkout in like a week, and we've been waiting on Keith Lee's new walkout for a couple months now. A little heinous. But so she comes out, she's all giggly. But before she can really say anything, Nikki Cross runs out and is like, "What the hell's going on with you? Come back. I know you're better than this." And then Alexa just like decks her in the face and they start hitting each other. Bray then comes out. And Adam Pearce and Pat Buck are separating the two. Bray just like takes Alexa, walks down to the ring with her, holding hands, giggling. And that takes us into our match between The Miz and Bray Wyatt.
Yeehaw, cowpoke. So we have Miz versus Bray. Bray immediately is like, "Hey, Miz, just in case you were wondering, it doesn't have to be like this. Like, you can just shake my hand right now and we can be pals. And maybe we could, like, get something out of this." I don't know. Miz kicks him in the hand. Completely disavowing any forgiveness that could possibly happen. Miz kicks him around a little bit. Bray's just kind of having some fucking fun. Shoulder tackles Miz. Miz begins clobbering Bray in the corner. Morrison takes advantage of the fact that the referee is yelling at the Miz and punches Bray. Bray then gets hung up on the top rope by the Miz. There's a double axe handle to Bray's upper back and a DDT to Bray. Miz then does what Miz does, I guess, as best as he can, by kicking Bray multiple times. But for somebody whose main thing is like doing like the hey hey ho ho kicks, he never turns his fucking hip, and it drives me insane because I never cared about this until somebody mentioned like the best form to kick is to kick and turn your hip while you do it.
Yeah.
Miz doesn't do it. It's back and forth.
Mm-hmm.
And go on.
It seems like he's doing the yes kicks.
It's basically the yes kicks. It's just with the hey hey ho ho song. It's just I didn't care about turning your hip when you kick until somebody pointed it out, and I was like, turn your hip. It makes it look so much more effective when you do that.
Yeah, I think
like,
Daniel
that
Bryan.
Looks like, hey, I'm like.
Daniel Bryan does it well.
Daniel Bryan does it pretty well. Bobby Fish is one of the better ones, and then the guy who just recently fought Orange Cassidy on AEW, Silver something, I think.
Oh, Long John Silver.
Sure. Yeah, I guess that's his name.
Or John Silver. I don't know if Long is actually part of
Silver. But it's another thing that comes out of people who have been to NJPW a little more is just turning your hip when you kick, and I hate not seeing it happen now. And yes, that is my little snobby wrestling complaint for the night.
And thank you, Init King Z, for the follow. Much appreciated. Welcome.
Thank you. Hello.
Anyway. Oh, you did miss something though. When John Morrison punched Bray Wyatt, Alexa Bliss just popped her head in and scared John.
Oh. I meant to make a note of that too, and I didn't. But yes, Alexa Bliss, as John takes advantage of the referee's distraction, Alexa Bliss comes out of fucking nowhere through the fucking corner ropes and just scares the piss out of John. And honestly, my only desire in life is to have that effect on people. So Bray goes for the Sister Abigail. It's not successful. Manages to clothesline the Miz, and then launches a forearm into him. Manages a standing Uranagi. Really like that move. I thought it looked really cool. The power that Bray Wyatt holds while he's doing his moves is pretty impressive.
Mm-hmm.
A standing Uranagi is pretty cool to see from him.
Yeah.
Especially because he's not somebody that we've seen fight in ring since
Money in the Bank. I think he fought maybe once since then. but mostly since Money in the Bank.
Yeah. That's the most recent times I can remember, like, actually enjoying it.
Mm-hmm.
Bray starts doing his little weird shit, but John stops him. He tries to kind of, like, pull his legs out from under him, but Bray's a little wiser than that. Alexa Bliss then says, fuck that shit, and just takes John Morrison out like the fucking raccoon and elf. Just fucking takes him down over the goddamn barricade. I lost my shit for a whole 10 minutes. My dream move. Miz tries to take advantage of the fact that, like, Bray's standing there like, did Alexa just break her neck? Should I be worried about that? Miz tries to take advantage of that, but smooch smooch, Sister Abigail time. Yeet, and we win. Bray Wyatt wins, my almost birthday twin. Happy Gemini season. And Alexa Bliss comes back out, and she's still alive, so.
And she's, like, tight roping on the barricade.
I love her so much. John Morrison never came back out, though, so I don't know.
Yeah, he's dead. He's now in the Firefly Funhouse.
The other John.
Yeah. So after that, we had a promo with Adam Pearce. Weird enough. What was this promo? Oh, okay. I remember what it was. So, I think Adam Pearce was in an interview and he was asked about Dana and Mandy being out of commission for Survivor Series, and he confirms that the people replacing Mandy and Dana will be Lacey Evans and Peyton Royce, even though just before, Peyton Royce commented on Twitter saying, I am 100% not a tag team with Lacey. If I am going to be in a tag team, it will be with Billie Kay, as she should. So she's not going to be a tag team with Lacey. But yet they keep pairing them together. You could have revealed Charlotte Flair for Survivor Series. That would have been fantastic. You could have had God, there's like no other women on Raw right now. That sucks.
Can I say something?
Yeah.
Charlotte's gonna come back after Survivor Series.
You think so?
I guarantee you, during the Survivor Series review, we will get a green screen version of Charlotte Flair. She was doing that fucking whatever shoot it was, wearing her wrestling gear in a totally green screen environment. I guarantee you we're gonna get like a Keith Lee-esque promo. It's Survivor Series announcing that she's coming back. I guarantee you that. I will not take a bet on it, so I don't have to drink because I'm not insane and I'm not you. But I do think that will happen.
All right, fair enough.
I will just say this for bragging rights in the future.
Okay. So after that, we had a little promo with Randall Keith Orton.
Good boy.
He just rambles. He just rambles on and on. Because that's all.
It's a Randy promo.
Yeah. It's all him and Drew do is just ramble on and on and on. So after that, another ramble promo. Angel Garza is doing whatever the fuck he's doing. Trying to seduce the audience.
Me!
Yeah, you.
I was seduced. I am constantly seduced. I'm the easy target here.
Yeah. So after that, we had a promo with Nia Jax and Shayna. Oh god, what happened? I know this was like nothing. This was like a nothing promo. What happened?
It was basically just like Nia saying, Shayna, stay out of my lane. Shit like that.
Oh, that's lame. So after that, we move on to our main event for the WWE title between Drew McIntyre and Randy Orton. The third time this match is happening. Maybe fourth time.
I felt genuine pain from this match. Because here's the thing, we got like a full promo of like Drew talking about like, him coming up through the ranks and like being so good, and Randy too, I guess, but like Drew coming through everything and like in his little Scottish kilt and shit like that. It
You sound
like
like you're
broke me on the
crying.
inside anyway. I'm in tears constantly about this. Yes, I might be like a little bleary-eyed, but it's mostly because I'm just PMSing. Ignore that.
Also,
anyways,
one thing I want to add about this match, spoilers, Drew McIntyre won. He won the title, and fun fact, this is the first time the WWE title has changed hands on Raw for 5 years. Since December 2015, when Roman Reigns beat Sheamus.
I don't think that they planned on this happening. I think that if they planned on this happening, they would not have had him lose the title at Hell in a Cell.
No, they're probably trying to pad Randy Orton's title count so that he can be up there with John Cena and Triple H. Maybe have like a match between Randy and John Cena.
Anywho, I just want to point out that after Drew lost the title, I was like, damn, one thing I'd really love to see is Drew get the title back. Because we started watching, quite literally, the episode after WrestleMania. At least for Raw, we watched it the day after Drew got the title. So I was like, there's one thing I could get from this world, it would be to watch Drew get that title back. And God said, mwah, mwah, here you go, Elizabeth. Have some fun. Have a little serotonin. I said, thank you. Oh my god. Anyway. So, I drank a lot prior to this match, and I was very upset, and I was very emotional, because Drew McIntyre comes out in his fucking kilt, the same goddamn outfit that he wore when he was just first debuting. And that goddamn broke me in half from the get-go. And of course I was doing the thing in my head where I was like, okay, so we're halfway through this match and Drew's losing, so we're fine. And then it got to the last 2 minutes and I was like, Drew's winning now.
There's people saying that the kilt and the sword was their original plan for his WrestleMania walkout. But they had to cancel it because of the pandemic and the lack of crowd.
Hey. If you don't want me to sob through the rest of this, tell me that. Get-go. Here's the thing. For Sheamus to be presenting him with it broke me a little bit on the inside bones. Anywho, let's pretend that my stuffed nose is from allergies. So we start with a Glasgow kiss to Randy. I believe that this match really kind of started around 10:45, if I'm not mistaken. Which
35.
Okay, so this started around 10:35, and if you've watched enough wrestling constantly every other fucking day of the week, like we have, you see the patterns where it's like, okay, this guy's winning in the beginning, he's gonna lose at the end. So Drew starts off with a Glasgow kiss, and the second one, there's a spine buster to Randy, and Randy just says, fuck this, I'm out. Which was around the time that I said, oh my god, no. Drew's winning way too early on in the fight, he's going to fucking lose. Adam Pearce, however, comes out as Randy is trying to scale the ramp back to the fucking locker rooms. He says, hey, Randy, just in case you forgot, you fucked me up last week, and now I'm telling you that this is a no-holds-barred match. And, no DQs. Falls count anywhere. Fuck you. He said, Adam, slap daddy. My god, you came out here with some balls tonight. Damn. So Adam basically tells him to get the fuck back in the ring. Randy does so. There's a clothesline to Drew, and then a very bizarre little backbreaker to Drew. I can't remember now what movement was, but it just was kind of weird. It was almost like a deep six into a fucking backbreaker. And then Randy says, well, it's a no holds barred match and I can't get disqualified, so here's a chair shot. Specs Drew in the back with a chair. If you know Randy Orton well enough, you know he shouldn't be manhandling a chair. Then he sends the chair into Drew's broken jaw. Then there's a back suplex onto the barricade edge to Drew. Randy sends some steel steps into him. Orton then stomps on him and, like, sort of weirdly, like, paws at Drew before sending both of his knees into Drew's upper body.
Mm-hmm.
It was sort of like a cat, like, playing with, like, something, and they're just going, ooh. That was weird. But it was Randy, so I guess I can't expect anything else. Drew then blocks a shot from Randy, sending his head into the announce desk. Randy gets back up and, with incredible precision, looks Drew in the eyeballs.
Just
it was very smooth. It was very swift. It was just doop, right in the eyes, and Drew was like, "Fuck." Drew then is suplexed into the announce desk. He slams Randy back first into the announce desk, once and then twice. Second time, you hear a very, very clear, "God damn it," from Randy. Because I'm pretty sure Randy's shoulders at that point were completely dislocated.
You saw him rolling it a couple times prior to that.
He's like, fuck, it doesn't work anymore. Oh, God. Nothing quite like the tragic opera between Randy's shoulders and his neck. But there's a failed Claymore, which sends Drew sliding over the announce desk, because that's what happens anytime Drew tries the fucking Claymore for the first time. We get a sweet little picture-in-picture like we're fucking watching NXT, which...
Except it was all Head and Shoulders sponsored.
Which I appreciate, because, like, it wasn't like a full commercial break. It was just like 2 sponsored ads.
Mm-hmm.
Still, Drew was over the table at one point, and then we cut back to Randy, and Drew's kicked himself over past the announce desk towards the barricade, and I'm like, what's happening?
Well, he landed on the announce table and rolled himself off towards the barricade.
It was the shot angle that was very funny, because all of a sudden I see Drew crashing out, more or less.
Mm-hmm.
Randy, however, takes this time to set up a table. Drew punches Randy in the midsection and then chops him to pieces. We get our sweet fucking overhead, belly-to-belly fucking suplexes to Randall Orton once and twice. RKO, because it's still an RKO, because Drew does the hands. It's not a neck breaker. If it's a neck breaker, it's just yeet. You get the hands out, it's an RKO. But he RKOs Randy, gets into a straight fucking kip up. Fuck everyone. I'm still in pain because I know what's happening here. I didn't actually know what was happening. But, Then there's a failed Future Shock DDT, because that is Drew's new fucking thing, is just missing the DDT every single goddamn time. Randy then Drew goes up to the top rope. Randy kind of helps him down by punching him. Superplexes Drew. There's an RKO into a backslide and a Future Shock DDT. Finally. Drew takes a little lesson out of Randy's book. He hangs Randy on the top rope, sends a hard right hook in his direction. Randy is then pushed off the apron into the table. Did Randy hit his head against the floor? We will never know. It looked like he was in a severe amount of pain, because I think, like, the thing that helps falls like that is having a considerable amount of distance to, like, kind of correct yourself. But Drew pushed him from the apron to the table, which is like 45 degrees or 90 degrees of movement.
And what was it? What was most painful for him was the wood scratching his back, because you see a very long gash on his back from where he was cut by the table.
That split right into his skin. Skin. Again, it's Randy Orton. If anybody knows Pain from WWE, it's probably going to be him. God damn it. So, Randy then Puma tackles, or I guess you could say, what is it called?
Crossbody.
I don't think it's just a cross. Oh, is it just a crossbody? Okay. A running crossbody, I guess, because there's different types. But as I like to call it, the Puma tackle, or crossbody. Randy manages that onto Drew, and I said, okay, it's 10:55, and we call it a night. I'm disappointed, but I understand. There's a Draper DDT to Drew with the weird little fucking noises that Randy does. And then a second one. I said, all right, I've checked out. I've accepted defeat. I'm going to go sit down. I'm going to accept myself. Podcast 7 soon. And then we get a fucking Claymore. And Baby Boy wins the goddamn title.
And Drew is now a multi-time WWE champion and won the championship twice in 1 year. And now he's going to face Roman Reigns at Survivor Series and lose.
I don't even care because it's not for the fucking title.
Here's exactly what's going to happen. Roman is going to beat Drew probably pretty handily. It'll definitely be a really good match. Maybe a little help from Jay, possibly. But if he does, Roman will really yell at him. Once the match is over, The Miz will cash in the Money in the Bank briefcase. Drew has to lose because that's the only way the Miz is going to cash in, because Miz is going to cash in at Survivor Series, and he's not going to cash in on the Universal title. No way. He's going to cash in on the WWE Championship, but Roman's going to kick Miz's ass, or Jay. One of them will do it. Miz is not going to get the title. It's not going to happen. It's going to stay with Drew for the meantime, until The Fiend takes it away from him. Or maybe The Miz will get it. Maybe. Because they are kind of setting up The Miz and Bray, kind of. Weirdly enough. I don't know. I know for a fact, though, The Miz will cash in. That has to happen. Because he didn't cash in today.
He got his ass kicked by Bray.
Yeah.
I don't know. I wanted to see Drew get the title back, and I kind of figured that we would have to wait for like a year and a half or so to see that actually come to fruition. And for it to actually come to fruition only about a month after he lost it, I was like, I'm just so happy. I assume for anybody who's watching right now, may not have seen our past podcasts, but I love Drew McIntyre. Not just because I love Drew McIntyre. It's not just because I think he's an attractive man. My dude has carried me through this entire fucking pandemic with his little optimistic, fucking annoying ass attitude of being like, I'm just gonna fucking jump in where I fucking can. I was like, huh, that's stupid. But my dude has carried me through this entire fucking time with his stupid, like, you're never gonna get anything you want without trying. And I was like, you're right, bitch. And then I got a goddamn job again, and I was like, ah, shit, he's fucking right. And now, I have perseverance skills, Marcus. This made me so happy, and I'm really hoping that they don't fuck me over again. I'm gonna need a solid 2 months of him holding the title for me to not believe that they're about to fuck me over again.
It very much. Also, you left out something during the match. You missed Randy patting Drew's ass or smacking his ass as soon as the pin happened.
He did smack his ass on the final pin, and I said, boys.
But it very much seems like they're just writing Randy off right now. It seems like he's gonna be taking a break. I care because I like Randy, but
I do too. I just think that maybe maybe there's something else that they've thought of him for like going after in the coming future.
mm-hmm.
I don't know. All I know is that
the only thing I could see happening is The Miz fails at cashing in at Survivor Series, thus no longer having that feud between him and The Fiend. The Fiend then turns his aim onto Randy, because that's what was primarily motivating The Fiend getting involved anyway, was Randy burning down the Wyatt family house. And then after that, he'll probably go after the WWE Championship. That's the only way I can see them keeping Randy in. I can't imagine him doing anything but doing stuff with these AAA guys like Bray, Drew, and anybody else. It wouldn't make sense.
I think that there is something to say for the fact that Bray's going to take the title off of Drew right now, because that makes sense as far as the news piece that we talked about earlier with Bray having the title taken off of him by Edge.
Mm-hmm.
But I want to say something, and I don't want to sound horrible saying it, so I'm just going to say it and hope it doesn't sound awful. I think that there's a certain amount of respectable fear in giving Edge the title. It's based on his history of injuries and his history of taking a while to come back from injuries. You don't want your title holder to get the title in a match that he's supposed to get it in and then have a massive injury. I mean, he came back for like a solid couple of months and had his tricep torn straight from his fucking bone.
You mean Karrion Kross and now Finn Bauer?
Right, exactly. You don't want that to happen. I think that it's one thing for it to happen with the NXT Championship. It's another thing for it to happen with the quite literal WWE Championship. I think that's something that they should be kind of wary of going forward, because Drew's not a spring chicken exactly as far as wrestling is concerned. He's 36, I think.
Mm-hmm.
I think Edge is 40-something, 41, 42. I just think that you want to be careful. Obviously, you want to give your titles to people who will draw the crowds in, but I think you want to be careful of giving it to somebody that might get injured in a match and you just don't know.
Right. But do you want to move on to...
We all know Drew's going to fight through any fucking injury whatsoever because he's a goddamn lunatic.
Yeah, absolutely. And even if he gets injured, there are people who can also contend for the title. You got like Keith Lee, Sheamus, all those guys can... AJ Styles.
There's a lot of people who could take it, and I think that once Drew loses it this next time, he's not going to get it back so easily. I think it's going to be a handful of months before he gets it back.
Mm-hmm.
Because I don't know what's going on with Randy right now for them to suddenly not only write Randy out of this WrestleMania main event that they've been talking about, but also to take the title away from him. Something weird is happening, I think.
Mm-hmm.
So, I don't know. I'm just going to accept it for the moment.
That's fair. So, best of the night? This was a pretty stacked show, so it's going to be very difficult to pick some of these. But I do have some choices. So, promo of the night. We started off with Drew in the ring, had Randy in the Jumbotron, and we had Miz and Morrison come out. It was very raw first promo. Didn't love it. It's very much same as always. I mean, it's by the books with these guys. It gets better on as the show goes. The first one is pretty much just same as always. Then we had the Lana, Shayna, and Nia promo. Nice sentiment with Lana, but it was an average promo. We had the Men's Survivor Series team promo with Riddle's nicknames and everything. Jordan finally speaking. I love this. I loved everyone. Riddle still with his nicknames. Probably the best part of this whole team. Jordan finally speaking and AJ completely like in awe. Like, I have so many questions. Oh, it was great. I loved it. But then we had the interview with Dana Brooke, where she's attacked by Reckoning. I like seeing Mia Yim finally do something, which is nice. Then we had Firefly Funhouse, which was amazing, hilarious. I haven't laughed this much at all today, all week. It was great. I love the whole training montage. I love the spelling bee bit. It was all so great. And I like this shift in focus to them focusing on The Miz for some reason. And then we had Hurt Business talking in the ring, which was good. Not the best New Day Hurt Business moment, but still, it was good. Then we had the very nice Drew and Sheamus promo, where Sheamus had the weird pirate's chest with all of Drew's old gear. It was great. It was wonderful. And we had the lame promo with Retribution. We had the alright promo with Nikki and Jeff Hardy. We had the stupid promo with Elias and Jeff. We had Miz and Morrison talking in the ring, followed by Alexa coming out, and Nikki, and then Bray. This was great. Not the best tonight, but still great. I think if it was on any other night, this would have been promo of the night. But I think there's a lot that puts this one in its place. We had the promo with Adam Pearce. Adam Pearce really I mean, it's not really relevant to this promo, but Adam Pearce just he went hard today. He was fed up with everything. He was fed up with Retribution, Mandy and Dana, Nikki and Alexa, Randy. Just snapped.
He's tired.
Yeah. He's like the William Regal of Raw. But after that, we had promo with Randy Orton, which is boring. Promo with Angel Garza, which I don't know what's going on there. And the promo with Nia and Shayna, which was lame. So, my pick for promo of the night, there's no contest in my opinion. It's a Firefly Funhouse training montage.
I don't agree.
What else would it be?
Drew McIntyre Sheamus promo.
God, I knew you would go with that.
I do not agree with that. That was like important. It brought back his like fucking original storyline.
It didn't bring back his original storyline, it just brought back his gear.
But like still that was like what he originally debuted in.
I mean,
Because it has nothing to do it.
I'm not denying that it was nice and it was great bringing back his old gear, but I think as far as entertainment goes, the Firefly Funhouse was so much better. It was so much more.
Am I gonna be disappointed if I say I agree with you?
What do you mean?
The future choices that we make for later fight.
I mean, maybe. I don't know, but
Fine, I'll go with you. I'll go with you on this one, only because this did have segments and it was broken up in a way. However, I will regret this choice for the rest of my life.
okay.
Simple enough, you know?
Also, every time I hit transition, the Raw logo appears for a second and then just disappears.
Oh, you've got to figure out what's going on with that.
Yeah.
It's gonna annoy me for the rest of my life.
All right, so Wrestler of the Night.
Be
We started off with Shayna, Nia, and Lana versus Asuka, Mandy, and Dana. Not a great match to start off with, by the way. My pick here is Asuka. She's the only one who really did anything. Everyone else was just, eh. Shayna is a close second, but I think she didn't have as much time in the ring as Asuka. And Asuka really, this is the first time we've like seen her fight at all in like months. She was good. That's really all I can say in this whole mess of a match. Then we had Cedric and Shelton versus the New Day. This one was tough because everyone here was great, but I'm going to go with Xavier for this match. He was fantastic. I mean, he has been consistently performing amazingly since coming back. Every single match, he has been amazing. Although today was a little not as great as his previous nights, but I think this match was more so focused on Kofi, and Cedric and Shelton. But what we did see of Xavier was fantastic. I love the move where, like today, Shelton was hunched over the ropes. Xavier just like slides over Shelton and onto Cedric. I don't know how he does it. It's amazing. But then we had the men's Raw Survivor Series team versus Retribution. I picked Riddle. I don't think there was anyone else who was great in this match. The rest of the men's Survivor Series team was not great. They didn't do much. Riddle, I think this was the best Riddle we've seen since his start on SmackDown. Since then, he's been very much underperforming. And I think a lot of it has to do with how he's being booked. But he's kind of just been, he's been alright. Today he was pretty good. And that's with a whole match where everyone's just eh. And then we had The Miz versus Bray. I like how The Miz has been performing lately. I think he's really been one of the better parts of Raw. And I think it really helps that he's not really a major player. He's kind of just like this minor character that lurks and like kind of appears everywhere. And him having the briefcase really helps with that because it adds a little bit of anxiety, a little bit of surprise, and just waiting around, seeing what he's doing. But my pick for this match is Bray. I love seeing regular Bray fighting because the contrast in how he appears like all nice and like fun, and then he does the creepy shit where he hangs back on the ropes. Sister Abigail is an amazing move. Second place in this match, I'd say, is Alexa Bliss. But yeah, Bray is just such a good wrestler, such an amazing performer. My God. And then finally move on to Drew McIntyre versus Randy Orton. And this one's tough. This one's tough to pick one for. But I'm gonna go with Randy. And let me explain. Drew was fantastic. But Randy, I think he added so much to this match, and a lot of it has to do with the amount of pain he was going through in this match. Just like his shoulders didn't seem right, but he was still fighting through everything. Just let me finish before you react like that. All right, so Liz is gone, so I'm just gonna stop explaining.
Oh, go on.
I mean, you're not gonna agree either way.
I won't, but I want to know what you're saying so I can disagree with it accurately.
I just think Randy was, he was a real performer today. Like, he really, not only in his wrestling, but how he was like acting when he was like getting all fed up with a match. He didn't want to continue fighting, so he just walks away. And then he had a genuine moment of like fear when Adam Pearce came out, declared that the match was now no disqualification. It was more than fighting for him. It was a genuine performance. Drew mostly was there to fight. I did love Drew today, but I think Randy just had a little more in terms of character. And Drew had his big character moment when he did his walkout. He did the badass sword in the stone thing. And I don't know. Randy really is just such an amazing wrestler. And I think he really showed off who he was today. Drew has just been consistently great. Drew's performance today was consistent with how he has been lately. But Randy just exceeded how he has been and just outperformed himself today. And so my pick for wrestler of the night tonight, I can tell you already, it's not Asuka. It's not Riddle. It's not Bray.
Oh my god, just tell me who it is.
And it's not Xavier. So my pick is Randy Orton.
I don't agree with you.
You're going to say Drew McIntyre.
Yeah.
Because you always say Drew McIntyre.
Oh, thank you. I know how much you know that makes me feel good in my on the inside. Laugh if you want. Anyways, yeah, I don't agree with you only because we've talked about this before and it's been a kicker in past arguments about this, but for Drew to come out there from the underdog position, show off his moves in the way he did, treating Randy like he was just any other wrestler that he was going after, treating him just about the same as he treated The Miz, made me feel like this isn't just a guy who's saying shit to say shit because he thinks he deserves whatever he deserves, like The Miz is doing. Instead, this is a guy who actually deserves what he gets because he basically cuts people down to size and takes care of them the way that he would anybody else. And on top of that, just to see him do RKO, which, again, we all know is a neck breaker, but to do the neck breaker in the same kind of style that Randy would do the RKO, do what was very nearly a Draper DDT on Randy, just tells me that he reads his moves. He does the same shit he's learning. Randy doesn't do that. I haven't seen Randy do a future shock DDT. I haven't seen Randy do a Claymore or a Glasgow kiss. I have seen Drew do things that are similar to the RKO, similar to the Draper DDT. I think that says a lot about a wrestler, and we've talked about this before in the same way that like Finn's very adaptable to different wrestlers, different wrestling styles. Drew has that same thing in him, and I think that's really cool to watch, that like we're seeing something that we don't normally see, which is a guy who's been wrestling somebody for 500 years, sort of like we want to see with Apollo. We've seen Drew wrestle Randy so many times now, and he's starting to learn his moves. He's starting to adapt to those and starting to get better and utilize them, which, you know, people again like Apollo who have fought Bobby Lashley 16 times now never even get out of the fucking full Lashley. Mm-hmm. So to see Drew like do the same shit that Randy does in the same like stupid flamboyant style that Randy does it in, it's like, I don't know, he's sentient, he's learning. That's terrifying. He's like, how?
Can I provide a counter to one of your points?
Mm-hmm.
I'm
probably not gonna agree with you, but go on.
I don't think Drew went into this an underdog. He was very much top dog in this because he just had a face-off with Roman on SmackDown, destroyed Jay, and was pretty much on the same level as Roman. And early on in the match, Randy was thrown for a loop and had the match basically turned to Drew's favor when it became a no disqualification. At that point, the match was very much in Drew's favor. Randy wanted to leave. He was like on his back already. And then Adam Pearce comes out and says, no, I don't care if you're sad. Get back in the ring. And Drew also came back from other wins against The Miz and Morrison. I mean, he just won a handicap match against them. And, like, I think Drew was more on top than Randy prior to this match.
I feel like going into that, though, it's like Drew defeated a Shih Tzu and had to go face a Rottweiler later on. Like, that doesn't seem like the same kind of comparison. I mean, Randy could have defeated The Miz and gone on to fight Drew later on. Also, I really don't agree with you saying that Pierce changing the match to being a no DQ when Randy tried to utilize... Randy was the only one in this match who tried to utilize, initially, anything like a table, a chair. He was the only one who tried to do that.
But Randy was also... Sorry.
Go on.
Randy, he tried to just get a count out. He wanted to win just by count out because he knew he couldn't beat Drew. And after Drew beat The Miz and Morrison in a handicap match, Randy, the next week, is worried about the two, thinking they're going to take his belt away from him. And the level of confidence between the two going into this, Drew was much more confident than Randy was. And yeah, Kayla, Miz and Morrison are a tag team again.
I just think that Drew's constantly confident. It's just his nature. To justify Randy being beaten down versus Drew's confidences to justify anything that Randy's ever done to Drew over the course of the time, because it's just who Drew is. I don't think that changing the match from a Bailey count out kind of situation to a no DQ really puts it in Drew's favor, because Drew also didn't it wasn't like Drew was standing backstage like, hey Adam, do this for me. I just don't think that put it in Drew's favor in any way. In fact, what it looked like from the get-go, because Randy started using the chairs, Randy started using tables, made it look more like, oh, Randy seems to be more prepared for this to be a no DQ kind of match, because Drew never really, the only time Drew ever used anything outside of the regular match against Randy was the table. He pushed Randy into the table Randy set up.
I don't know. I think that's just adapting. Like you were talking about with Drew. Randy adapted to the no DQ and said, fine, here's a chair, here's a table.
Well, I'm only commenting on this because you said that turning the match into a no DQ put it in Drew's favor.
It did. Like, in the mindset of Randy, it severely lowered his confidence. And Drew was suddenly like, hell yeah, you're my bitch now. But also, you're telling me that you don't think that Randy slapping Drew on the ass should give him Wrestler of the Night?
I mean, I think that was just one of those, like, things where, you know, like the time that Sasha, like, kind of gently patted Asuka's head during their match together. It was, like, one of those things. I don't know.
Oh, yeah, no.
I'm not counting real life. I'm going to be really honest with you so that we don't spend 5 hours doing this. I'm not going to agree with you.
All right, so we're going to switch to the chat for this to help break this tie between Randy Orton and Drew McIntyre. And based on our arguments that we gave, who do you think should be Wrestler of the Night? I don't know if there's anyone watching who watched today's episode. Kayla said Randy's a legend.
Kayla, don't do this to me.
Yeah, I don't expect most people watch this episode, but we got one vote for Randy from Kayla. Any other votes before we declare Randy Orton tonight's Wrestler of the Night? I will keep it blank for the moment as we move on to our match of the night. If anyone has any other votes, put them in the chat. and then we'll see who wins based on vote. All right, so match of the night. This is also a toughie, and I'm probably more willing to sway on this one. Harry, it was between Randy Orton and Drew McIntyre. And Harry's probably just gonna vote Drew. Harry, I want Drew McIntyre. That's my vote.
No, it's not. It's not his vote. My vote is Drew McIntyre. His vote is Randy. I will not let him change things that way.
All right, so match of the night. We start off with Shayna, Nia, Lana versus Asuka, Mandy, and Dana. This match sucked. I was getting into that. We had Cedric and Shelton versus the New Day. This is a fantastic match. I mean, everything about this match was fantastic. It had me on the edge of my seat the whole time, like wondering if the New Day was going to lose their titles. And it had so much fun involved with it, whether it just be the New Day having fun or just the match being exciting. This was kind of the opposite end of the spectrum to the Drew Randy match, which was a very serious, cathartic match. The New Day Hurt Business match was very much modern wrestling, like kind of more fun, while doing like absolutely ridiculous stuff, like insane moves. I loved everything about this match. And then MVP on the side too added a lot to the match. He was just getting so into it that excitement was contagious. After that, we had the men's Raw Survivor Series team versus Retribution. This was better than most Retribution matches, I'll be honest. Besides Bobby Lashley versus Slapjack. This match was okay. It was alright. I just wish the Survivor Series team would, focus up. Then we had The Miz versus Bray Wyatt, which I loved this match. This match was fantastic in every way. Bray being creepy as shit, love it. Dominant as hell. Miz still putting up a hell of a fight, looking great, better than he ever did on SmackDown. Miz needs to win more. Like he seriously needs to win more. And then add Alexa Bliss too, murdering John Morrison. I wouldn't be surprised if we never see John Morrison again. But I loved everything about this. I loved it going in. I loved it coming out. And then we had Drew versus Randy. A match that I didn't expect to be that great, I'll be honest. I didn't expect this match to be good, just because we've seen Randy versus Drew a million times now. I didn't expect Drew to win today, because it's just a regular episode of Raw, and it's the episode before Survivor Series. I didn't think that they would switch things up at the last second. But this match was great. It was a really hardcore, just exciting match. Randy and Drew were both fantastic. The lead into this wasn't great. It wasn't fantastic. I mean, the Drew in his old gear, that was amazing. But you had just like the subpar promos with Randy and Drew prior to that. It was okay. I mean, it's the same lead-in we've been getting every single time. But the match itself was fantastic. I mean,
Can I also just say that the promo with comparing Randy's journey from from being like a starter where he is now versus Drew's promo, I thought that was a really cool thing that they did.
Yeah.
You don't get to see that very often, especially because the WWE also owned up to the whole, yeah, we definitely did fire Drew for no good fucking reason. I really did like that promo. I thought that added a lot of emotion, at least. Maybe not so much storyline, but like a lot of emotion to what we ended up seeing.
Right. But yeah, this match was great, and it makes me wonder where it's going after this, and I think that's something that the New Day Hurt Business match doesn't have. I thought going into that match, it didn't feel like this big storyline. Like, it didn't feel like it had weight to it. It just felt like the Hurt Business was being a nuisance. But with Drew and Randy, it felt emotional. It felt like it had impact. And although it didn't have the exciting lead-ins, it was still a very, very great match. And then having Adam Pearce come out and change up the match all of a sudden was a great addition that I think escalated it from being just another Randy Drew match to being an absolute banger of a main event match. So, with all that said, my pick for match of the night is Shayna, Nia, and Lana versus Asuka, Mandy, and Dana. Nia Jax, she's too good. No, it's Drew versus Randy. It's Drew versus Randy.
Oh, you mean Douglas Claymore?
Alkless Laymore.
Hey, listen, I'm small. Show all the words.
So yeah, Drew McIntyre versus Randy Orton, and I know for a fact you agree.
I hear you over typing like you think you know what's happening here.
Because I know you're not going to pick any other match based on how much you were arguing for Drew.
This is the best goddamn match of my entire goddamn life. Fuck everything else. I don't care.
I see
this
you.
Was it.
I see you don't love Xavier.
Dare you?
All right, so it seems like there are no more votes for our wrestler of the night. So our wrestler of the night is Randy Orton, and our match of the night. What was that?
I will make sure not to retweet that on Twitter.
Wow. And our what was that?
Disagree with it.
That's fine. I've disagreed with your picks though that I've been outvoted on. So
my picks have been.
What? Liz is in a not fantastic mood right now, as you can see. She can't handle defeat. Alright, so to run it back, our promo of the night, the Firefly training montage. Wrestler of the night, Randy Orton. Match of the night, Drew McIntyre versus Randy Orton.
Alright. So I can agree with one thing.
Do you want to close this out?
Yes. If you watched tonight, thank you so much for watching us. And if you're watching future, thank you so much for watching us. I assume you might be around Thanksgiving time, so happy almost Thanksgiving, happy post Thanksgiving, happy you got to see your family. Congrats. Hope that you could be a little fun on your holiday break. But yes, so trying to think of everything I normally say. But yeah, thank you so much for tuning in tonight. If you did, if you tuned in the future, thank you as well. Please tune in on Wednesday. We will be back for our NXT podcast post show. Hopefully Finn Balor will not have given up the title at that point. Prayers, I guess. But yeah, tune in the future. We love talking to people. We love interacting. Makes this a lot more fun for us too because we quite literally live together. So if you're not interacting with us, we actually could do this while sitting on our futon together. So appreciate when people tune in. Makes it even more.
And before you all leave, because we're closing out the show, tune in on Friday, which is SmackDown. It's our predictions for Survivor Series. And for those who don't know our predictions and our pay-per-view traditions, for every incorrect prediction that we have, we have to finish 1 can of hard seltzer per incorrect prediction. Sometimes that devolves into horrible drunkenness. Other times it's, it's great. And Harry, don't worry about needing to contribute more. Just having you and everyone else in the show is fantastic. Having listeners and viewers is great in and of itself. And you know what? Maybe we'll get you into wrestling. But yeah, tune in on Friday. We'll have our prediction show. And we might crown a new winner, a new prediction winner, new prediction title holder. Right now it's me. We'll see if I can keep up the reign, or will Liz take it back?
As I deserve to.
So, thank you so much for watching. If you enjoyed, hit that follow button below. Don't forget to do that. You'll be notified whenever we go live. And if you missed part of this show or want to check out previous podcasts, go to our YouTube, the Pinfall podcast on YouTube. Great watches to just chill and have on in the background while you're working.
The logo is still not what we should make the logo.
Oh yeah, no, it's not, but that's fine. If you're watching on YouTube, hit that subscribe button and check out the live show. Why not? Talk with us live. And follow us on Twitter at Pinfall Podcast. We put out whenever we go live on there, as well as we live tweet the shows and post our picks for wrestler and match of the night in case you miss it but still want to know who wins. And follow our personal Twitters as well. I'm at the Mark Cameron. Liz is at Eliza Elaine23. And follow my personal Twitch, twitch.tv/Mark Cameron. I go live every Monday, Wednesday, Friday, give or take. Yeah, someday our lazy logo guy will get his shit together. Harry.
Harry.
Take your time, my dude. I know you're busy.
To be fair, Harry, we actually have not put even the temporary logo that we have for this Twitch channel, we haven't even put that on the YouTube channel. It's just a stock photo of wrestling or something like that. I don't even know anymore. So it's equally our fault.
And yeah. And follow TV Spicy Boys too. That's Harry's channel that he created, but I've been streaming on it. Brian's been streaming on it. It's all kind of a shared channel that we all have. Yeah.
And I'll sit in the corner, not streaming.
Okay. I mean, technically you're streaming right now. But thank you again for watching. Tune in on Wednesday for NXT. In my opinion, the superior of the brands.
Yeah.
And Finn Bauer's coming back, so. Again, thank you for watching. We'll see you on Wednesday. And definitely tune in for Survivor Series too. Have a great night, everybody. We'll see you on Wednesday.
Still have to get my car tuned up.